with Pineapple Papers, and I am back with a 12 by 12 monochromatic video today. I have kind of been wanting to do this for a while, and not just monochromatic, all white, just white on white on white, and just play with the textures of it. So I have pulled almost everything I own that is white, including flowers, doilies, this little piece of cut file. I have a couple of these placemats from Jelly Bean Soup along with some white frames. I've got this ribbon that's like roses. I have these brads that you're supposed to stick ribbon through. I have these spare parts circle, they call it polka dot ribbon, kind of like banners. I have white brads, white buttons, white flowers. This heart has been painted white, even though it's wood veneer. And then I have these gossamer blue on my desk transparencies that are white as well. So this is what I am going to work with, and I hope you enjoy this process. So let's get started. Okay, so this is the picture I am going to be working with, and I thought it was perfect picture for a white page. It is just a picture of the first snow of last year. So there's just a tiny little bit on our deck, and the kids wanted to go out and put their feet in it. So they both put their little toes in it and left imprints. So of course I did a picture. So something I didn't talk about in the beginning of supplies was I decided, of course, I was going to use a white background. But then I thought, okay, well, I need to add some texture to the white background. So I grabbed this stencil, and I do secure it with a little bit of washi tape just so that it doesn't move. And I want this pattern across the whole 12 by 12. So I'm just taking this texture paste from Walmart and applying it evenly, or as evenly as I possibly can, all over it. And here it is removed. And I'm going to set that to the side to dry. I did immediately go and wash off my stencil because that texture paste does dry a lot. So I am going to back my photo with a white layer. Now this is not white cardstock. I use a lot of my background white when I'm like matting my photos with pieces of paper that are not maybe my style anymore. So I just use the back side. So otherwise I give it to my daughter, depending. Another thing that after I started scrapbooking that I didn't show you was this white tissue paper. And I love tissue paper. Tissue paper just really gives a wonderful layer of texture to my items, to your page. So originally I was going to use this large doily, and I kind of felt like it was a little overpowering for my small picture, so I pulled out a small one. And then I had this, I guess it's like a lace ribbon per se. So I cut a small piece of that off, thinking, okay, I'm going to use it somewhere, maybe on the bottom, maybe on the side. I'm not quite sure. So in the meantime, I decide to look through some of the other white pieces that I've picked out. The first one is the frames, and I am going to add 2 frames actually to this. I'm going to add one with the little starburst cut out and then one plain one. And I'm going to add that to behind the tissue paper so that you can really tell it's another layer. So this die cut piece was a full 12 by 12 sheet of these hearts, and I actually have used it on a total of 3 layouts, which I think is pretty good because initially my plan was I'm just going to take it and I'm going to put pattern paper behind all the hearts and I'm going to put it on one big layout. But then I loved it so much I really felt like I needed to spread it over several layouts. So this is all I have left, and it makes a good layering piece on the bottom. So the acetate piece I add, or that I choose to add, is actually the one with the polka dots. You can see it right there, and that will stay. And then I pulled those Jelly Bean Soup placemats and found those white circles. And I like how that adds just another dimension. Then this flower, it's like a fabric flower, is super old, but it's white and I know it needs to go on this layout. So my background is dry and I feel like it's time to start actually getting everything on the page. I have kind of an idea of where I want things to be. So I'm just going to kind of place it on the background. And you can see here, even though everything is white on the page, you can see each individual piece of ephemera and tissue and everything. And I love that. So this is kind of those sewn together circles, which remind me of a banner. And they're slightly off-white, but I still feel like they're white enough to give another layer. And the only thing that I think that I didn't do on this that I probably would be to have actually done some real sewing on it. So as far as my title goes, my friend Amber gave me this great idea for the title White Out when I had told her a while ago about wanting to do this layout. So I took these white thickers, and I'm not sure where they're from because they've been out of the package for a while, and I don't know if they've been in like heat or something, but they don't want to come off the backing very well. And I was out of ease, so I used that 3 and I used it backwards for my E, and that works just fine. Now the lace, originally I was thinking, okay, yes, I'm gonna put this underneath the photo, and then it covered up the frames and I just wasn't really happy with it. So after I ran those circles down the side, I said, oh, well, maybe I can put a longer piece of the lace down there. And then I was like, oh, but I have this really, really pretty roses. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I can put all 3 together. And that was no, I couldn't do it. So I go back to the original piece that I had cut, and I like that little bit down there under the title. But I end up using the big piece and I cut it only because I have added that brad that you can stick the ribbon through. And I didn't want to undo it from that and put it on the smaller piece. So I just cut it. I have a lot. So I'm going to adhere everything with glue dots because of the texture on the background. And you can see I have just put a few of the, wow, that was funny, a few of the buttons and the brads and the resin flowers, and I had a resin bow there. So I hope this inspires you to try this. I love this layout and I love the texture. So remember to wear your crown. Bye!